everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. Today, we have very special guests from MUFC India in Prashant and Devdeep. They're huge Manchester United fans and they've been following the club for over 15 years now. And today, we're going to do our season preview for Manchester United. It's all things United, it's all things we expect from this season and how we're going to approach it. So, let's get straight into it with Prashant. What do you think about the short break that we've had? We've had 10 days more.
Yeah.
But we look dead, we look fatigued, we look absolutely drenched. So, what do you think? How are we going to get into this season? Do you think the players have had enough time, and what do you make of it?
I mean, as a fan, I'm pretty excited that Premier League is back and it's live and kicking. But as a United fan, I'm pretty nervous. I'm not quite sure how are we going to deal with it, especially after I watched Liverpool and Leeds game. If that is the kind of intensity what Leeds are going to get, I mean, we are in for a very tough season. It's not going to be like just walk through the park kind of a season at all, especially at the starting fixtures. It's not going to be that. I'm not very convinced in terms of how this 10 days break is going to even help United, because by the end of last season, which is almost June end, the players, July end, the players were almost dead. I mean, we saw in the Sevilla game as well, and even in the FA Cup versus Chelsea, the players were ragged, and especially someone like an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's had a fantastic first half of the season. He was just tired. It felt like someone had to drag him off the pitch half the time. This 10 days break is not going to do much. The only positive or only hope which I'm saying is 10 days. It gives United some bit of extra time to sign someone. But other than that, this 10 days are of no use to us. I mean, it's going to be a long, hard season this year.
Right. I kind of agree with you. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be harsh. So, Devdeep, this is what I want to ask you. Prashant already spoke about Leeds, but we've also seen Everton look an improved side. Newcastle, who were looking like they were there for the taking, they look very good with the new signings they've gotten. So does Crystal Palace beat Southampton with 20% possession. So, do you expect a lot of crazy things to happen this season? And how do you think United will be able to adapt to that?
Well, it's Premier League, it's bound to be crazy. And then when you have the likes of Leeds coming in and obviously Bielsa, and if the point is Everton also had their good signings. I mean, everybody is going gaga about James Rodriguez, but people forget that Doucouré and Allen played a great game at the midfield. They blocked everything. And the worst feeling I have as a United fan that we haven't made signings. That's the main issue that I've been bugging. You cannot expect a miracle to happen every season, like a lockdown or whatever, to come in and help us. And Ole Gunnar, if United as a whole needs to compete for the top four, which we should, I feel, he needs to kill off games which we haven't done in the last season. I mean, we dropped way too many points, man. In the when you come against the mid-table clubs and the lower league clubs, you cannot drop points against Southampton. You cannot drop points against West Ham, the likes of Burnley. Those were really, really bad. And if you remember last season, Chelsea gave us way too many opportunities to go and grab that third spot, and we always kept shooting us in our boots. And so if we continue doing that this season, it's goodbye top four. That being said, it's Premier League. It's bound to be very, very rugged and rigid, and everybody right now is playing a high intensity game. I mean, if you remember Southampton, they pressed us last season, the 2-2 draw I'm talking about specifically.
Yeah.
So you can understand that every club out there is trying to play that fast, aggressive, high pressing game. I think has been the nature of it. I do not know how can we counter. That's another issue that I see us having. But that being said, let's it's very, I mean, happy that Premier League is finally back.
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head with what is going to come this season. It's going to be intense. It's going to be grueling. And this is where I'm going to bring Vishesh in. We have signed one player. Our squad depth hasn't improved. So what do you think about that? Do you think we'll be found wanting in the start only? Or do you think that these players will be able to cope for a bit?
Prasham, I don't see this being an issue, to be honest, at least till October 5th. For the simple reason, when we came back from lockdown, we saw the intensity, even though we were just playing 1-11 each and every day. So Van de Beek definitely provides the depth for our midfield, and we're getting a fit Pogba, even though Pogba may not play against Crystal Palace because of the COVID situation. We have a solid midfield and a well-packed defense. It's only the front three that needs reinforcements, because I think Dean Henderson does a good job to cover up for De Gea as well. So I think if we don't get players in by October 5th, then it's an issue. But I think till then, we have no excuse for not winning our games. Because I saw the game against Aston Villa, and some stuff is very clear. There was no Andres Pereira, so obviously he's not in the plans, but Lingard is. So we do have the squad depth that is needed. Are they the other? Are they the ones that should be squad depth for United? No. But are they good enough to allow us to win up till October 5th till we get the transfers? Yes.
Okay, that's an interesting take. So, Devdeep, let me come to you. Let me ask you about Donny van de Beek. What do you think his sort of role is going to be in the team, and what do we expect from him, basically?
Well, see, when you have signed a player like Van Peek, I mean, he can do a multiple roles in the midfield. He can play as a number 6. He can play as a number 8. He can drift to the right like Kevin De Bruyne does for Manchester City. He drifts to the right hand side of the park, and he nails in crosses for, and when you have attackers like, Paul Pogba, the likes of Marcus Rashford, even Greenwood or Bruno Fernandes, who likes to drift in the penalty box for any rebound or anything, you can already see them relishing, that opportunity of playing with Van Beek. That being said, I do not think that we should definitely start with Van de Beek right away. I feel that we should ease him in the Premier League, because again, it's Premier League. It's very, very grueling. And once, we had the issue with Fred as well. He came in, he looked good, but we played him way too early, and he had a very, very, average or a poor first season. So I do not want that to happen to Van de Beek. I do not want him to play a Matic role as well. I want him to be eased in, but he gives us a lot of opportunities. He can, as I said, he can play as a number 10 as well. He has great knack of scoring goals as well. He comes in the opposition box and he can score some good goals. He had 175, touches in the opposition box last season. So that tells you a lot how he's kind of the Mullerish player who likes to, get into spaces and likes to attack the spaces whenever it's available. I think it's a good signing.
So what I'm hearing is versatility. Prashant, last season we had a lot of problem in breaking the low block and things like that. So what my question here is, what formations do you think that we'll be playing? Do you think we might approach this with a different kind of 4-3-3 this year, or do you think we'll play a back five? What kind of formations are you expecting in terms of tactics from Ole this season?
I mean, to be very honest, I'm not a huge fan in terms of Ole's tactics very specifically, because for me, he always has looked one-dimensional man. He's a great man manager, no doubt about it, but I don't think he's got enough in his armory to explore something tactically versatile or anything of that sort. Now, like you said, playing with a back five, I don't think we've got enough resources to play a back five, because we need 3 solid centre backs. So if I have to handpick 2 centre backs, you have a Lindelof and a Maguire. Rojo or Smalling Woodley, which leaves with the option of Axel Tuanzebe or Ethan Laird to come in the back position. I'm not very comfortable playing a back 3, because you need 2 good, strong wing backs for it. Van Bissaka, great defender, bad attacker. Same thing with, if on the other side, if let's say Luke Shaw is not fit enough to start, he's just on the borderline to start, right? So, I mean, Ole said that he'll take a call later. Brandon Williams, again, great attack-wise, but not defensively very great. Not a back 5. I would still go with a wide 4-3-3, because our strength is pace. We have pace to burn. So you stick with 4-3-3. You stick Martial up front. In between, you have someone like Daniel James, who can always come in on the left side. Even though he's a headless chicken, but at least his pace is good. So you can utilize him for that aspect. So the front 3 would still be the same. I'm very curious to see how Mason Greenwood would perform as a number 9 now. But having said that, I don't want to upset Anthony Martial's rhythm. Very few times you see him on form and consistent. I don't want to break it. So I would still go with a 4-3-3. But my biggest worry is Nemanja Matic. We have all seen that we miss him very badly once he does not start. God forbid something happens to him in the center of the park, or if he's shut down. Even in the Leicester game, people shut him down, but still, because of his experience, he could pull through. So that's my area of worry, that even if you play a 4-3-3, Matic becomes a bit of a liability, but then we don't have any other options other than Matic to play.
So Prashant, would you stick to the Matic, Pogba, Bruno midfield, or
Yes.
would you be tempted to test Donny van de Beek, Pogba, and Bruno?
I am not at all tempted to test Donny van de Beek so early because he's a quality player. Like Devdeep said, if you have to play someone like a Donny van de Beek, you have to go with a diamond. Once you start playing diamond, then it all reminds me of Arsenal versus United with Bastian and Morgan Schneider in midfield. I don't want that kind of a game at all. We don't have that resources, Prashant, to be very honest with you, to play a diamond. Ideally, diamond would have been the best formation for us to play, but not now. Until unless we sign a centre back or a quality left back, diamond is not the way to go. 4-3-3, stick to what you're good at. You don't need to experiment right now.
I kind of agree with you on the 4-3-3 bit. I think personally on the smaller teams, we can play Donny van de Beek and try to break the low block because I think we struggle with that a lot. But I know Vishesh has very strong opinions about the 3-5-2. So let me bring him in and let's see what he has to offer on from the tactical side. And Prashant, I agree that Ole does not very one-dimensional. And Abby, if you're listening to this, one more.
So, I mean, Prashant, sorry to interrupt. You said that, right? He's just a stopgap manager. By end of 2021, bye Ole and get a bigger guy.
Let's not start the season with that sentiment. Vishesh 3-5-2.
I don't agree with like a lot of statements, even though I do agree with the full, we should stick with the 4-3-3. I think Ole is a decent tactician because we've seen him in the bigger games pull off victories against managers that no one expected us to beat. So obviously he shifted to the 3-5-2 for that. And the only reason I believe the 3-5-2 would work is I am again going into a hypothetical situation. I see him only buying Reguilon or whatever his name is from Real Madrid if he's thinking of playing Luke Shaw in the centre back position. Because we saw how solid Luke Shaw was on the left as a centre back with Maguire and Lindelof and Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right. So if we manage to get that five as our defense, like as a 3-5-2, that would work very well against the teams that play a pressing game like Leeds or Liverpool or City, and we'll be able to break them down. So in a case where we manage to get the likes of Reguilon, that 3-5-2 would work brilliantly. At the moment, do we have the squad for it? No. But if we get our signings, yes. Coming to the Matic part of it, I think I saw the game against Aston Villa, the friendly, and I think McTominay has a point to prove because he was at a different level this time. He was one of the players that stood out for me. And personally, again, we're linked with Thiago. So if a central midfielder is coming in, then it's between Fred, Matic, and McTominay, and one of them will be out because having 7 central midfielders does not make sense. So Matic has just signed a 3-year deal, so he's not going. So that leaves Fred and McTominay. So both of them will have to prove their point this season to ensure that they stay within the club. So I think there's a lot of fights that need to happen within the side. I completely agree with Prashant when it comes to letting Martial's flow be and Greenwood as a number 9. But I think the 3-5-2 would work in the big games for sure.
Devdeep, you've heard two opinions contrasting. I sort of agree with Prashant and I think that Van de Beek can play in the smaller games in a midfield 3. What do you think? I'm going to make you judge, jury, and executioner. What formation are we playing?
No, I agree with Prashant here. I mean, 4-3-3 is our way. We talk a lot about if the problem happens, it isn't about breaking the top 6 of the clubs. I mean, if you talk about the Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, and all that, it's not the problem. The problem is beating the small teams. That's the main worry which we had. And honestly speaking, Bruno Fernandes did a lot of things or eased up a lot of things on that. But what happens when Bruno gets an injury, God forbid, or he happens to go on a suspension or a fatigue that like he had? That is the time where I see Donny van de Beek coming in, playing as a number 10 or a number 8, and easing that or having that guiding us through beating that low block. Again, I would say 3-5-2 can work, but we do not have the players like Prashant said there. We do not have the players, and the problem with 3-5-2, whom are you going to play as the true strikers, Rashford and Martial? Now Martial is a good striker; he has got a good form, but with Rashford, I have a seriously his form post lockdown has been pretty bad. Number one. Number two, when you make Rashford play with the back to his goal, he is pretty average. He becomes very average. I still think Rashford is good when it comes in the left-hand channel, and for him to play in that role, I would stick to 4-3-3.
Also, Prasham, I also don't think that Mason Greenwood is a centre forward. I mean, he's a striker. There's a difference between a centre forward and a striker.
Correct.
So, what is Mason Greenwood's biggest strength? His biggest strength is pace, and he's dual-footed, right? He's ambidextrous that way. So, if you kind of play a 3-5-2, you have to have a centre forward at least. Of all the front three, I only see Martial with small capability better than these two. I think one advantage with Martial is that his hold-up play is better.
Yeah.
Of course, having said that, Rashford's hold-up play has improved a lot drastically, especially post the lockdown scene. But and hence, 3-5-2 can work. But right now, like all other mentioned, we don't have the resources. But yes, if we get Reguilon from Sevilla, Real Madrid loanee who played for Sevilla, then yeah, 3-5-2 is a good shout, especially against big teams. And even not to forget to mention a team like Southampton. Southampton press for their lives. I mean, they just berserk. So, those are the kind of games which I'll be very interested to see, and then make a judgment on someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or even a Fred or McTominay for that matter. Because it is these kind of games where you need your so-called fringe players to step up. I mean, big games is all for big players to be, to a certain extent. But it's the smaller games which has been worrying us for quite some time, from the Mourinho era till now.
Yeah, like I completely agree with that, and that's why I would only play the 3-5-2 if we get the likes of Reguilon in. If we don't, then managing to play Williams in there is slightly risky, to be honest. And adding to that, I completely agree with what Deep said, because I think Donny van de Beek has been got as an understudy for Bruno. He would be that player that when we have Champions League between the fixtures, Bruno rests it out and plays the Champions League. And Van de Beek can play if we're playing a smaller team. But if it's like a bigger game and we're doing well, Van de Beek can come on. So I see him coming as an understudy, and I think that's been very clear to him. So I think we have the squad depth in midfield, and that shouldn't be an issue.
I think the three of y'all have raised some fantastic points in terms of especially like the centre forward and striker difference and the role of Donny van de Beek. I think those are very important considerations to make. We don't have a Harry Kane or a Diego Costa or someone who can, run off players and stuff like that. I know there's Odion Igalo, but let's face it, he's not Manchester United quality. But Vishesh has already mentioned the Champions League, and you've heard everything about the formations, the squad. So what, according to you, is a successful season for Manchester United this year?
Well, there are two things I want to say out loud. One is realistic, my Manchester United love for this club, and that is obviously top four. Nothing, I want us to finish at the third position like we did last season, but with an improved points. I mean, 66 points, we need to improve from that difference, number one. Number two is signings, whether we get signings, and especially I'm talking about Jadon Sancho. But the problem is right now, I don't see us finishing top four. Honestly, I'm like, this is my unbiased love for this club. I do not see us finishing top four because of the quality of our oppositions that they have got. They have strengthened their game, their squad and everything. That being said, a top four and FA Cup is much needed, because Ole needs a trophy on his CV and probably a quarterfinal finish in the UCL. That is for me.
Semi-final, yeah?
No, I do not think we have the likes to go to the semi-final. Let's be honest. I mean,
not
can we go up
Atlanta
against Bayern Munich? Anyway, so that's my opinion on it.
So, Prashant, Devdeep obviously thinks that we're not finishing in the top four, and we might win the FA Cup. So, what do you think, according to you, is a good season? And I want you to tell me, is it the same with Sancho or without Sancho? Do you think it'll be the same season?
No, if it is with Sancho, then probably. So first and foremost, let me be very honest. I am not a huge fan of this top four battle at all. It sounds good for commercial reasons, but as a football club of the stature of Manchester United, you are supposed to be talking about winning trophies. But for whatever reasons, it has not happened for quite some time. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge hip to this top four talks at all. But yes, top four is by default given. You're supposed to finish it. I mean, there is no two ways about it. And no matter whatever reasons you say, lack of signings or tactically inept, whatever, you are supposed to finish top four. But what my benchmark would be is United should win the FA Cup and the League Cup, because for two reasons. One, because Ole needs a trophy. Second, what has everyone said about Ole? That he chokes in big games, and we have seen it, right? So he needs two trophies at least. With Champions League, I am not quite sure where United will go, because it depends on the group stage, so on and so forth. But yeah, a quarterfinal finish is, I would take it. Even right now, I would be more than happy if we go to quarterfinals, because we have seen it, right? Once we go to Europe, especially once you start playing in the Europa League, in the business end, we are not the European level when it comes to, even when we faced a team like Sevilla. I mean, we played the game literally to their hands to a certain extent. So I'm not very sure where United will go in the Champions League. So quarterfinal is the optimist me, where I'll say, yeah, quarterfinal, I'll take it from day one. Premier League, more than what the top four, what my inclination is, I don't want a 30-point lead between United and Liverpool, or whoever is the champion this season. Because my fear this season, apart from the regular, is Arsenal. I am not, fully convinced that Arteta is just a fluke. A lot of people have said he's just a fluke, but no. Arteta is a very smart manager. Slowly and steadily, he's building an Arsenal squad, which can really hurt us. So that top four battle is going to get nasty. It will drag. But having said that, I expect United to finish in the top four by default. It is given. There are no two ways about it. Like top four is mandatory. Two trophies, which is the FA Cup and the League Cup and a quarter final. That should be the benchmark for Ole this season before he starts it.
Okay. Vishesh, do you agree? Two trophies? Do you think it's a little bit of a stretch with the current squad we have? Two trophies might be a bit of a stretch. What are your views on it? And also, how do you think Ole can use this squad, considering that we should be competing for all the trophies? We're Man United, we're a big club, we have to do it. We shouldn't be saying that, let's give the Carabao Cup a rest. We should not be saying that. So how do you think Ole will approach this?
I think, Prasham, we saw it last season. We made the semi-finals of all these trophies. It wasn't that we got knocked out in the round of, 16 or something. So it's that final step that we need to take, and for that is where we need the signings. We get the signings. There's no reason why we don't get what Prashant is saying and win two trophies. But talking about top four, completely agree with Prashant. That's an Arsenal thing to do. We aren't Arsenal. We don't talk. We need to get top four. So I would say win the trophy, bro. It'll be like 2020 to 2021. So 20 becomes 21. But jokes apart, I'd say, as I said in our predicted video, that I would like to see United finish second. Champions League quarterfinals would be a big plus, because I don't see us going that far. I don't see us still having the... we're still an inexperienced squad when it comes to the big games like that. So, if we win the quarterfinals, I'll be more than happy. But yeah, if Ole doesn't win a trophy this season, I can see him being sacked come next season.
Smile on Prashant's face when he said sacked.
No. I don't think he's going to get sacked this season. I think he's going to get this season. And, I want him to succeed. It's not that I don't want him to succeed at Man United. It's just that I don't think he has the resources to be, he might develop those resources. You never know in football, anything goes. He might develop those tactics, but with Phelan out there, he might pick up some things, but I'm not sure as to how it's going to work out.